The movie starts with a girl named Sophia playing ice hockey with her team. They work together, and Sophia scores a goal, helping her team win the game. After the match, Sophia's parents, Santo and Ingrid Gruber, are waiting for her in the parking lot. They are very proud of Sophia, so Santo decides to reward her with an off-road trip. Sophia is excited when she hears this, and after dropping Ingrid off at home, she and Santo drive into the forest in a Jeep. They enjoy the beautiful forest views and even take a break by a lake before heading back. While they're there, Sophia asks her dad if they can take a picture together, but her dad, who doesn't like being in photos, says no. So, just before they leave, Sophia secretly takes a picture of her dad and posts it on social media. They didn't know that a man from Santo's past, Don Angelo Lo Bianco, would use a face tracking system to find him and his family through the photos Sophia posted online. A few days later, Santo goes back to work as a lumberjack with his brother-in-law, Patrick Gruber. Unfortunately, their saw breaks, so they have to stop working. Patrick suggests they fix it the next day, but Santo insists on repairing it right away in town. He asks Patrick to pick up Sophia, who is practicing ice hockey. Hearing this, Patrick agreed and quickly went to pick up his niece from her ice hockey practice. When they got home, Sophia ran upstairs to her room, while Patrick stayed downstairs talking to Ingrid. Suddenly, two men entered the house and killed both Patrick and Ingrid. Upstairs, Sophia became their next target, so she ran away into the forest, which helped her escape. Later that evening, Santo came back from the city and was horrified to find that his wife and brother-in-law had been killed. Soon after, Sophia returned home, crying and upset, asking her dad to call an ambulance and the police. At that moment, Santo realized that his old enemy was behind the attack, so he grabbed Sophia and left the house immediately. They went to an old, empty building where Sophia kept asking her dad to call the police and report the murders. But Santo refused because he feared the police might arrest him. He hadn't told Sophia that he used to be a hitman. Don Angelo, the man behind this attack, was Santo's enemy because Santo had killed Don Angelo's son some time ago. Don Angelo was a powerful mafia boss in Italy and owned a bank. When he found out his men had killed the wrong person, he ordered them to correct their mistake by finding and killing Sophia. Sophia was still upset with her dad for not calling the police. Santo tried to calm her down and finally confessed his past as a hitman before he married Ingrid. Sophia was shocked and couldn't believe that her dad had such a dark past. After telling Sophia about his past, Santo began planning his revenge on the people who killed his wife and brother-in-law. He gave Sophia a cell phone for her safety, telling her to use it only to contact him. A while after her dad left, Sophia, wanting to escape, used the phone to call her boyfriend, Hakeem, asking him to pick her up. But Don Angelo's men traced the call. Meanwhile, Santo found one of Don Angelo's men, Vituzzo, and questioned him about the killers. In exchange for medical help, Vituzzo gave up the names of two hitmen hired by Don Angelo. However, Santo left Vituzzo badly injured after getting the information. Hakeem, rushing on his motorcycle after Sophia's call, met her at the old building, and they quickly left together. On their way, they encountered a car with assassins sent by Don Angelo. Santo returned to the hideout, but couldn't find Sophia, making him worry that Don Angelo's men were after her. Meanwhile, Sophia and Hakeem were trying to stay ahead of Don Angelo's hitmen, who recognized them from before. As Hakeem rode his motorcycle into the forest, one of the men in the car fired a shot, causing them to crash. Sadly, the shot killed Hakeem. Sophia fought back, but was eventually caught and forced into the trunk of the car. At the same time, Santo arrived and took down the two hitmen, although he got injured when one stabbed him in the stomach. Despite his wound, Santo moved Sophia to a safer place, especially since she was now wanted by the police as a suspect in her family's murder. Later, they went to a supermarket. Sophia went downstairs to buy medicine for Santo, who had gone into a public restroom to treat his stab wound. Meanwhile, at Don Angelo's house, his second son, Michel Lo Bianco, didn't want revenge because he thought it could hurt their banking business. He believed that keeping their business running was more important than getting even. Don Angelo was angry because he expected Michel to avenge his older brother, who was killed by Santo 20 years ago. Disappointed in his son, Don Angelo turned to his friend Ferrario to help find Sophia and Santo using surveillance footage in Milan. Meanwhile, Santo and Sofia had arrived in Milan and decided to hide in an empty house for the night to avoid being easily found by their enemies. Unfortunately, Santo's stomach wound got worse and became infected. This forced Sofia to go out and look for help. She eventually found a woman who worked at an illegal clinic for abortions. Sofia asked for help, but the woman kept refusing. After Sofia offered a lot of money, the woman finally agreed to help. Santo was taken to an underground clinic where he received treatment that saved his life. When he woke up, he apologized to Sofia for the problems caused by his past actions. The next day, Santo's condition was getting better, but they were found by Rudy Cruzara, a hitman hired by Don Angelo. Rudy rushed into the clinic to kill Santo, but Santo, even though he was still hurt, managed to outsmart and beat Rudy. Outside, Sofia was heading to get her dad when she was suddenly held at gunpoint by another assassin. Hearing the gunshots, Santo quickly ran upstairs and shot the man, saving Sofia. After this, Santo realized that Don Angelo would not stop hunting them. He decided to take action against Don Angelo before he could hurt Sofia. From then on, Santo started training Sofia to defend herself in case she was attacked. He even made a bomb to use against Don Angelo. One night, Santo and Sofia talked about their dream of going to Africa once they were finally free from the hitmen chasing them. The next day, following their plan, Sofia went to Don Angelo's bank to gather information and sent pictures to her father. Santo's plan was to kidnap Michelle to force Don Angelo to give up. After looking at the photos sent by Sofia, Santo entered the bank area through the parking lot. He knocked out a guard to make it easier for him to reach the top floor where Michelle's office was. At the same time, Sofia set off the bomb her father had made to get everyone out of the building, making it easier for Santo to move. The plan went well as Santo reached Michelle's office and took him hostage. He then brought Don Angelo's son to the parking lot where Sofia was waiting. They fought off several guards who tried to save Michelle, but Santo and Sofia managed to escape with him. Soon after, Santo and Sofia met at their secret hideout. Santo promised Sofia that he would end her suffering. Meanwhile, Don Angelo received a picture from Santo showing Michelle being held captive. Santo told Don Angelo that if he wanted Michelle to be safe, he needed to confess his crimes in front of the media within 24 hours. If Don Angelo refused, Santo threatened to hurt Michelle. Ferrario, who also knew about the kidnapping, tracked Santo's phone, which led them to an old abandoned station. Meanwhile, Rudy and Don Angelo's men rushed to the station to confront Santo. When they arrived, they found Santo's parked car but couldn't find Santo himself. They started checking the car, and suddenly, Santo fired from a hidden spot, using a sniper rifle to take down Don Angelo's men. Rudy and the others panicked and hid behind Santo's car, not knowing there was a bomb planted there. When the bomb exploded, Santo took out Rudy's men. Rudy, the only one left, searched for Santo, who attacked him from behind. Santo cornered Rudy and told him that Don Angelo would never confess, even if it meant losing his own son. After hearing this, Santo quickly dealt with Rudy. He then said goodbye to Sofia, as he had decided to go to Don Angelo's house to end everything. When Santo reached Don Angelo's grand house, he easily defeated all the guards. He snuck into Don Angelo's room and strangled him with a rope. Meanwhile, many police officers surrounded the house, ready to arrest Santo. He calmly walked out, but was met with a barrage of bullets from the police. At the same time, the police found the empty house where Sofia and her father had been hiding and arrested Sofia too. A few days later, Sofia, seen as a troublemaker, was sent to prison where she met Michelle. Michelle told Sofia she wanted to help her as a way to make up for Santo's death. However, Michelle was lying. After meeting Sofia, Michelle met with Ferrario in a car and asked him to kill Sofia with a rope, just like Santo had done to her father. In the final scenes, Sofia looked at a photo of her family and decided to escape from prison to get revenge on Michelle. When Michelle heard that Sofia had escaped and went in her office, she was shocked to see Sofia already sitting there. Sofia acted friendly at first, but then suddenly stabbed Michelle. And the movie ends. So the moral of the story is, if your dad used to be a hitman, maybe skip the selfies. Social media clout isn't worth getting hunted by the mafia.